Hi everyone, this is Malvika Kohli. I'm Dr. Malvika Kohli and I'm a dermatologist from Mumbai. And I'm really pleased to be part of the Moha Save Our Skin campaign. This is season 2, week 2. Hi Natasha, season 2, week 2 of the Moha SOS campaign. And today we're talking about hair care concerns, summer hair care. And summer hair care has become huge. And this is because we have, let me just send a quick request. Sejal Jain, who at Glam Protocol is going to be joining in and she's going to be asking me all these questions. And I hope, hey there,
Hello.
this time we got it spot on, right?
Yes. Hi.
Hi there.
You're looking classy like as always.
And you're looking super glam.
Thank you so much. So
I loved your holy fool, the April Fool and the holy colors, and then the fool thing was good fun, very
Thank
innovative.
you so much. Fooling around, fooling around. Yeah.
Fooling around.
Alrighty. So how's
Okay.
having summer treating you? Summers are really here and temperature is rising, pollution is increasing, and
I
we
know,
are
and COVID is also
being messed.
increasing. I think everybody's super stressed about COVID increasing, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's
So,
true.
so well,
Oh,
I think today you like my hair. It's looking good.
they are super good. I think, yeah, they're so nourished. We
Yeah,
will get to
that's
there. What is your secret to it?
yeah. Come
All
on,
right. I think some
prepare.
people have already joined in. Let me just
Yeah.
introduce the
Sure.
campaign. Yeah, this series. All right, guys. This is Dr. Sejal Jain, and I welcome you all to the brand new episode of Moha Save Our Skin SOS campaign initiated by country's Ayurved leader Charak Pharma. These sessions are conducted every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Friday and Saturday at 4:30 p.m., Sunday at 10 a.m. And here we invite eminent experts in the field of dermatology, cosmetology, Ayurveda, and yoga for providing us with holistic skin and hair care. Today, the topic is summer hair care and different ways to combat all the summer hair concerns. And we have the best expert in the field of dermatology and cosmetology with us, Dr. Malvika Kohli.
Thank
Hello
you.
again.
Good to be with you all and your followers.
It's amazing that you took out time for us and give us guidance regarding this. It's hair fall, hair concerns are so many, and hair fall is such a big concern.
Huge.
Coming to itchy scalp, dryness, dullness, frizziness, it's the list is long. So let's get started. What do you say?
I'm all set.
Perfect.
I'm hair
So
ready. I'm hair ready.
awesome, awesome. You're ready, and your hair are also ready. They look so
Yeah.
awesome today.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank
so
you.
tell us something. Let's get started with that. What do you do specially during summer? Like, is there any change in your routine? What would you like to suggest us for summer hair care?
So the first thing I would suggest is in summer because we tend to sweat a little more. We're all working out, and we tend to after a workout it's become really hot now. The summer is like a sweltering heat already. Post Holi it always gets warmer,
Yeah.
and the heat goes up. So I tend to wash my hair instead of every third day. Sometimes I wash it every second day because I find that otherwise the scalp gets itchy, and an itchy scalp, an oily scalp is
Yeah.
scalp inflammation. And scalp inflammation irritation means you're going to lose hair. So this is one of the reasons we lose hair in summer because we allow the scalp to get irritated. So I wash my hair maybe one time more, depending on how. Secondly, what I do is I move to lighter products. So I don't use very conditioning shampoo, very heavy conditioners in the hair. I move to lighter serums, lighter, serums, not the very heavy oil-based serums. And in fact, I like to use the blow dryer and hair dryer very very little. Then I like it to get a little air dry itself and then use a little blast dry so that the hair gets a natural bounce, otherwise it can sort of look big. People's hair gets big and like a bouffant or like a nest.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is how you can prevent it. And put a little serum right after you wash your hair, blast dry it, and put a little serum again after that. So before and after, both.
Yeah.
But not a heavy one, a lighter one.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. In fact, in my regime, I don't use conditioner a lot. I just wash my hair and directly switch to serum, like when the hair are damp. And then again, like you said, I also use it like later on. So that's how it is working well for me. Like conditioner, I use like once in a while, whenever in a week. I don't know now. I have to ask you that how often we should use it, because that's how I'm going about during summer, especially because you definitely have little oily and itchy scalp otherwise. Yeah. So I use a very light serum. I just introduced this serum to my Instagram 2 days back. So this is what I'm like using after shampooing my hair.
Sure.
It is super light and non-greasy and stuff like that. Yeah.
In fact, I'll give you one tip about the serum. I love it too. It's got nice natural oils, right? The hibiscus, and it's got the water lily and all of those. So what I like to do is, I like to take a small amount, like so little, and then I put it in my palm and I actually rub it a bit. And after I rub it a bit, then I put it this way into my hair and this way.
Okay.
So that it smoothens the hair. I don't put it like this. I like to put it this way and this way after rubbing it in my palm. Yeah.
Okay. So it does make it a little warm and so it absorbs better, I guess.
You got it.
I get it. See, today I'm also wearing sunscreen. I took that from the last session. Even if at home you're using the sunlight to get better things, I'm wearing sunscreen and sitting today. And today I'm taking this for sure in the start of session, like use little warm and then kind of do it. Otherwise use it. Okay, so that really makes sense.
Yeah, so today you've been a very good girl. You've used your sunscreen and I'm really proud of you.
Yes, I'm a very obedient girl. All right. So next thing I would like to know is people are now though taking precaution, they still jump in the pool because everyone wants, it's so hot outside, you want to jump in the pool, get relaxed and stuff. So there is a special care one should take prior or post because chlorine obviously damages the hair. So what should we do?
So the first thing I think is you could put, if you want to protect your hair from chlorine and the chemicals, you could use a little hair oil, very little hair oil in your hair. And then, but most people have QOD and cysteine and things like that, so they can't put a hair oil. So you can put a serum. So put the serum and then go into the pool. And when you come out of the pool, rinse out your hair fully. In fact, I tell my patients to wash the hair the next day because the detergent base or even the lauryl sulfate in the shampoo with the chlorine leaves a residue. So I just tell them to rinse it off and then wash it the next morning or at night, not right after the pool. And after washing their hair, I tell them to put a leave-in conditioner. So serum before you jump in the pool, come out and put a leave-in conditioner so the hair is not brittle, soften out the hair, wash it later, like a couple of hours later with the shampoo or the next morning. That way your own hair won't get crispy. And if you can find a serum which has a sunscreen in it, now you'll get serums which have sunscreen in there.
Nice.
So it actually protects your color from bleaching. Otherwise the colors you put in the pool and all of the color bleaches. And then you come back looking all goldeny and blonde and straw-like and hay-like.
Yeah, the color changes. Yeah, that's true. If you do it often, definitely some color comes out as well.
Yeah. This helps to protect the color as well. And what are my views on cysteine and keratin therapies? Honestly, I think that's a question that came. I think honestly, cysteine and keratin is something that you cannot, I can't tell you not to do it, though they are supposed to be not chemical based, and so you go to a good place which uses the right product. I think it's something that is very useful to cut frizz and give your hair a more groomed look. The only thing is that you will have to make sure that you don't put your head in a pool, you don't oil your hair, don't put any alcohol based lotions in your scalp, and don't do the cysteine or QOD more than once in 6 months, because as your hair grows out, you feel like doing it. And don't keep ironing cysteine and QOD hair because already it's got a chemical treatment, so you don't really want to ruin the texture by constantly further heat treating it. So if you take care of your cysteine and QOD, you can actually have a much nicer texture and make the cysteine and QOD last longer. And of course, use a shampoo and conditioner meant to match the QOD and cysteine.
Correct, correct. But is it good to do it? Like one should opt for it? Like I was in fact contemplating a lot. But I really enjoy my natural hair. Like right now, so they're not even colored. It's just natural color, natural. No, it's like virgin hair they call it. Like no treatment, no color, nothing. So I'm enjoying that. But I was thinking whether should I experiment with going straighter because that does give a natural straight look. So is it a good advice to go ahead with it?
So let me put it this way. I love the way your hair frames your face. So
Yeah.
I like the wave. So I would say that if you're going to look for something straighter, then you're stuck with something straighter. If you want to be styling it and you want to have a little more framing, then I like the way it falls. But yeah, one could do something very gentle to cut the frizz. So if you're looking to cut
Okay.
the frizz, then there are milder versions of it, which you can do to cut the frizz. And but I think, yeah, it's nice to have the summer waves, right?
Yeah, I love it. I actually love it. No doubt.
So I think if you have good quality hair with just some frizz and natural wave, then don't do a cysteine or a QOD.
Yeah.
But if you really have problematic hair, rough, coarse, really frizzy hair, you're constantly grooming it, you're constantly putting the iron through it, constantly blow drying it, then I'd rather do a cysteine or QOD because at least I don't have to, it's wash and walk away and I'm saving my hair extra heat and chemicals and handling of hair.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
would say that. I would say that. In fact, there was a question that, how do you prevent gray hair? You can't. I mean, gray hair is going to come up. But yeah, if you have some nutritional deficiencies, then gray hair does happen. So you have to have enough nuts and seeds in your diet because that gives you copper, manganese, zinc. These are very important to have prevent graying, and selenium. These are very important to prevent graying of hair. So graying is, of course, not avoidable, but if you have a reason for it, you can correct it. And somebody asked about, is there an internal cause for hair loss?
Yeah.
So yes, there are internal causes, and very commonly, what we see in our practice almost every day is a deficiency of B12, of D3, of ferritin. So these are important to do. Sometimes it's due to hormonal changes. Sometimes it's due to polycystic ovaries. That's a big problem all the time. Keeps cropping up everywhere. You get extra facial hair where you don't want it, and you lose hair where you want it. And with hormonal changes, you can also get an itchy scalp, you can get change of texture. So if you begin to find you're just breaking out a little bit, getting an itchy scalp, your texture's changing, think about your hormones, your lifestyle, your diet. Where is it possibly going wrong?
Correct, correct. So yeah, there is also a question about does rubbing lemon help for itchy scalp? Since we spoke about itchy scalp, like a lot of people tell me that. Like I've seen that in a lot of DIYs they say rub lemon juice. Does it really help, and is it advisable to do something like that?
Well, lemon juice is rather acidic and
Very
quite
acidic, yeah.
yeah, and also very harsh. But some people swear by it. In fact, some people with yogurt, dahi. Actually, you know what is dahi? Dahi is lactic acid.
Lactic acid.
That's it. So if you put a little lactic acid with maybe a few drops of lemon juice in it, then you're going to give a slightly acidic environment with lactic acid, which is an exfoliant. And then if you rinse it off, you may just help in getting rid of some amount of the dandruff and buildup. And in an acidic environment, your bacteria and all don't grow so much, your fungus doesn't grow so much. Well, a little bit of these things you can do, but we don't rub it in, that's what people do.
Yeah, I've seen like literally legit they do it, and I was like, God, that's not right.
In fact, now this whole onion, this onion juice thing is
Onion, yeah,
hugely
someone said onion juice treatment for hair fall, and it's like, is it like really helpful or it's just hyped up so much?
You'll have to tell me. I don't know.
I have never tried myself, to be honest. I haven't tried, but I would like to give it a shot just to tell people, yeah, how it works. Or though I don't like the smell of it, that is what is putting me off.
Same here. No, there are now so many brands coming out with onion and black seed and this one and that one. I don't know. I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure. I think being a medical doctor, I would say if you have a very flaky scalp which is very itchy, you may need an antifungal shampoo with ketoconazole and zinc in it, a little salicylic acid if it's greasy. It's a drier scalp, then you can use a bit of ketoconazole but in a conditioning base. But prevent residue build-up, bacteria, fungus is the key.
Awesome. Right. That makes more sense. And that's the root cause of like how you treat your hair will finally end up what results you will get. That will result in your itchiness, hair loss and all. If you treat them well, keep it clean and everything, these things we can avoid also.
Also, if you notice, the shampoo which is clear in summer, I like to use a shampoo which is clear, not the creamy ones. So, the Moha herbal conditioning shampoo as well as the herbal shampoo and the anti-dandruff shampoo. Both of them are clear. So, it prevents residue build-up, and they have lauryl sulfate, which is a little milder, definitely milder.
It's mild. That's why I can use it more often. Like otherwise, in summers you want to use shampoo more often. Like I prefer to do it because obviously you are sweating and everything, and I have a helmet and stuff. So using some heavy formulated shampoo becomes too much for my hair, like on and off every day or every alternate day. So this one is very mild and keeps it clean. Like you mentioned, it's clear. Yeah, I have seen that.
Clear. Yeah, so it's nice to use a clear base shampoo, and it's nice to use a conditioner which is light, so that you don't have to keep rinsing it off, and it doesn't form a sticky layer. Use a very heavy conditioner in summer. That time it feels super smooth, but by next day it becomes sticky because humidity sticks to it, and then your hair looks frizzier.
Yeah.
So lighter shampoos and lighter conditioner. Yeah, hi. I have an oily scalp. Should I still oil my hair? What's your take? You're Dr. Sejal Jain. What's your take on this?
Oily hair, still oil, because oily hair and the oily scalp in the sense that you need to wash your hair continuously and reduce the number of times you oil your hair. Maybe once in a while is good, and just the hair, not the scalp. I guess if you oil the scalp, again, a lot of oil together. But at least if you oil to nourish your hair, yeah, it does make sense to me. Not the scalp too much.
Yeah, actually, I would say I agree with what you say. I would say if you have an oily scalp, it doesn't mean you can't oil. You can take 2 tablespoons of a good hair oil, which has natural oil, so it suits your scalp. Warm it. Just gently apply it either with a ball of cotton or your fingertips. Lightly apply, don't massage. Put a steaming towel, and after 20 minutes, wash it off. So that you don't have an oil build-up, but you're just soothing the scalp down. And don't rub it in too hard. And there was a question over here that can an oily scalp cause acne? Actually, what it is that you can have an oily scalp and oily skin. So what happens is that with an oily scalp and an oily skin, you can get a build-up at the hairline. And that accumulates bacteria, and then you can start breaking out along the hairline. So that's the connection between an oily scalp and an oily skin.
And like you mentioned last time also, if you put a lot of serum or something which is like heavy on your hair, it will touch your cheeks and then you might break out.
Completely agree. Yeah, you got it.
Yes. All right. There's also a question like hair routine for summer, please.
So hair routine for summer. So let me tell you what I would do. Hair routine for summer would be avoid very hot showers. Start with 1. 2, I wouldn't pile up all my hair on top. I like to wash it like this, very gently, like this. So I don't entangle it too much. So then you don't have to keep detangling too hard, and then your hair gets even more ruin the texture and frizzy. Then I would put, if my hair, like you said, you don't put much conditioner, then I would just like to put a leave-in conditioner rather than conditioning it heavily in the shower. Or I would condition it lightly in the shower and put lighter serums. And sometimes at night, I may just put a light serum overnight just to keep the ends looking a little less dry. And I would definitely take my vitamins. I would definitely take all my vitamins. I would actually like to take, some of the cooling things in my diet also. Like I'd like to have my green juices, like my kale, green apples, celery, spinach juice, or I would like to have a little more watermelon. I'd like to definitely have pears and apples and a few grapes because they cool down your body. Some nariyal pani that comes with me every day to the clinic, my nariyal pani. So I'd like to have a little more hydrating things. And I would definitely tie up my hair in the summer, like when I'm working out, when I'm at home,
Yeah.
when I'm working. I keep my hair up more than down, less on the face, so it's less sticky, less itchy. And if I have an itchy, oily scalp or a dandruffy kind of scalp, I'd use a medicated shampoo with either salicylic, ketoconazole, zinc once a week, just to keep trouble away. It just
Yeah.
doesn't allow the back. And yeah, you could keep your hair long or short, that doesn't matter. It's just that you should groom it. I like to comb my hair every night before going to bed, just because when you comb it, you spread all the oils evenly from top to bottom. You disentangle it, just put a top knot and go to sleep, so it remains nice and together, not big.
Yeah, and also because when you comb it, the thing also stimulates, I guess, a bit.
Yes,
Your,
exactly.
I think that's what I learned from the last season. Yeah.
You remember, my mother taught me that.
Yes, 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 very much.
Yeah.
That really helps. Yeah, that I have started doing that one like often. Yeah.
So
That
have
in
you
the
noticed?
morning I have all conditioned hair, not here and there. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks more together. So tell me one thing. Do you think that it's possible? Somebody asked this question. I'm going to give you my answer after you answer. Do you think it's really possible to get thicker hair? What's your take on it? Somebody asked, "Can I really get thick hair?" I'll share an experience with you of my own hair.
Okay.
That do you think you can really get thick hair? Like, for example, if you're born with say 1,000 follicles on your head, we can't make you get 2,000 follicles. That's impossible. That's like what you were born with. But if you've lost like 500 hair follicles or 250 hair follicles of shed, lost hair, you can grow them back, right? But can you actually also make your hair thicker, like each strand thicker?
I do think there might be a possibility in the whole dermatology, cosmetology world about this. Like the whole thing is possible because you guys are magical. I haven't tried anything personally, but I would love to. If
Yeah,
there's
so I'll
anything
tell
like
you
that.
what. Yeah, so I'll tell you what can help. We have to remember a couple of things. One is that the hair follicle. Somebody asked a question about the hair growth cycle. So the hair growth cycle is a very fast cycle. So on our heads, 80% of our hair are growing in anagen, 20% are resting in telogen, and then a little shedding happens. And that's the little shedding you keep seeing. If you find that you are do this and you get one or two strands, or every time you wash your hair you see a lot of hair, that day you lose a lot of hair, you every time you comb your hair, or you just get up from the pillow and you see a hair or two, it means you are losing little more than you should. So it means that your hair follicles are weak and undernourished. So that may be one of the reasons why not only you're shedding little, you're also not growing enough, and your hair it may not be as thick enough, because the hair follicle has a nutrition requirement all of its own. So, we're working out, we're trying to follow a diet, there's wear and tear, we're stressed out. So, whatever we eat, our body, muscles, bones, body absorbs. The poor hair gets less because it's only aesthetic, right? So, if you provide your hair with regular nutrition supplements every day, which has a correct combination of its daily needs, you will provide the hair with the food value it needs.
Okay.
So the latest trend is to have these rotational kits. They're kits where you don't have to take the same thing every day. It's like 2, 3 boxes or bottles, and you rotate them.
Yeah.
And that covers everything from amino acids to natural extracts like curcumin, moringa, all your green tea, grapeseed, and all your macronutrients like B12, D3, iron. So all your requirements are, and natural extracts are all satisfied in that. So you may be eating a healthy diet, but you can still take these vitamins. So that's what I started in August, and I found I got I started taking this sort of comprehensive vitamin kits, So I think from the last time we did the Moha series, the first season,
Yeah.
I was still doing it then. Now I'm still doing it,
Okay.
and I find that it really makes the hair. Each strand is healthier, thicker. So you need to
Nice.
work on it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So somebody said that they get a pain in their hair roots sometimes. So that could be either because they're very stressed. Right? When you're very stressed, your hair follicles can get a little stretched because your scalp is stretched. It could also happen if you're holding your hair dryer too close, brushing too hard, tying your hair too hard in a ponytail or a top knot. So these are the various reasons why you could have sensitive scalp and hair roots, or there may be a vitamin deficiency like B6.
Yeah. Like you just mentioned, not only externally, you have to internally also take care to get better hair quality, and all these problems can be sorted, like the itchiness and stuff. That's the point. Yes. So there is someone asking about, does body heat causes hair fall?
I think maybe they mean
Let's tap on
allergies or
the hair fall
something.
topic. Let's get in the
Yeah,
deeper in the roots of hair fall.
right, right. I think as far as uh, let's talk about the health of the hair follicle, right? We were talking
Yeah.
about that.
Hmm.
So one thing is, of course, nutrition, as we said, and then one thing is handling of the hair, and then one is, of course, the infections of the scalp. So, if you start getting a lot of boils on your scalp, your scalp gets itchy, and you start actually get what we call folliculitis or boils on the
Folliculitis.
scalp.
Yeah.
If you get boils on the scalp, it means you've got a bacterial infection. So the reason of a bacterial infection could be maybe one is not washing the hair enough, or one is brushing and combing too hard, or keeping the hair tied up for very long hours. Like you come out of the shower and you forget to open up your hair. You just leave it tied up for
Yeah.
hours, and then you go and sweat again, and then you don't open it up. So you have a buildup of moisture and sweat inside. It can also happen to those who have diabetes. It's a sign of maybe being borderline diabetic or pre-diabetic. Your insulin levels may be high. It could also happen if your D3 is low.
Okay.
So my take on this is that whenever I come out of a shower, whenever I finish a workout, I always open up my hair. I take a towel and wipe it through so I get out all the sweat. Very gently, a thin towel, not the Turkish towel, that
Yeah.
thin wala towel.
Soft.
And I just put it inside. And if it's still a little greasy or wet, then I just take the cool end of the dryer and pass it through when I come out of the shower. So at least the hair is not wet inside.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of people get itching over here sometimes, just at the nape of the neck.
Oh. Yeah, you must be getting a lot of patients like that, right? With a lot
Yeah.
of concerns with itchiness, folliculitis, bacterial infection. Yeah. Yes, and especially in
Right.
summers, because people are sweating very badly, I think, uh, these days, and it's very hot.
True. In fact, what's your take on these anti-hair loss oils? There are a lot of the oils which are supposed to be anti-hair loss. So, the 5-in-1 hair oil is pretty good now.
Oh, it's pretty good. It's
In fact,
pretty
there's
good.
something on natural oil. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good. In fact, like it's very difficult to do, like you have almond oil, you have coconut oil. I think when it's a combination, like fine one oil we have in Moha, it gives you everything, the best of all those products, and it works. Like the smell is also good. I think I prefer when whatever I apply on my hair, whatever I wear, it needs to at least smell good, and that really helps. Like I don't need to really do a lot in my hair. Once I put the oil, like massage it gently morning. That's my ritual right now. Twice in a week, I use that oil, shampoo in the morning, and serum. That's all I'm doing as of now.
Fantastic. So you're getting nice conditioning as well, right? These oils have a
Yeah.
very nice conditioning effect also. That's why the steam towel, you just massage the scalp oil in and then keep a steaming towel for 10-20 minutes. It really helps the oil to get absorbed and seals the cuticle of the hair shaft. The
Yeah.
cuticle of the hair shaft is sealed, then you will find that the hair is stronger.
Mm-hmm. That's nice.
And somebody asked about how can I reduce natural oil on my scalp before I go out, because you can't keep washing every time.
Yeah.
Then you can use a dry shampoo.
Dry shampoo. Yeah.
So dry shampoo is a very good handy tool. It doesn't mean you don't wash your hair. It just means that you should.
It's like
you should,
emergency. Yeah. Time.
yeah, it's like you couldn't wash it. You're rushing out, and your scalp was feeling oily and itchy. It's better to use a dry shampoo. There are tons of them, which are very effective. They give the hair also a cleaner look.
That's true. What about coloring the hair? There are questions regarding that. Like, does coloring really damages the hair and does hair loss or whatever? Like, so there I saw 2-3 questions like that in the flow. Yeah.
Sure. So let me put it this way. If you have less than 25% gray hair, yeah, then it is better to try and avoid starting color, because they usually get camouflage within your own hair. Unless
Salt
a lot
and
of
pepper
them are in the class.
looks good, yeah. I think it looks classy. Salt and pepper, yeah. Like you said, 35% is, I mean, little bit is good, but yeah, if it is more than
especially if they're inside, it's okay. But if there are a lot on the outside, 25% also, then it depends on your age. If you're young, you really don't like that. Then I would suggest, so let me put it this way: if you have less than 25% gray and they're all sort of hidden inside, then my suggestion would be to do just a few highlights, and you can just cover them up.
Okay.
Or you can use something a little more natural based colors, are temporary hair colors, which really you just leave in. They have no chemicals and they last for about 4 washes. So 4-6 washes. Okay. And then you can do it again. So there's this temporary hair color. Some are shampoo based, some you just leave on, some are vegetable based. You have indigo blue and henna, which you can mix, and you can good quality henna and indigo blue. If you mix and apply it, then you can get some nice burgundy color which can last you many washes. However, if you have more than 25% gray and they're all sort of small in front, then I would suggest try with an ammonia free color. Because the ammonia free colors are basically a little less harsh on the hair. So ammonia free colors will last you about 3.5 weeks, and then your roots show, and then it fades away, and you've got to do it again. But at least you're sparing yourself of ammonia. Then nowadays there's a new Then there's a new generation of hair colors which is permanent but ammonia free. Normally permanent hair color has ammonia.
Okay.
So if it's permanent but ammonia free, again it's safer. Then if you have to use ammonia for fashion color, or if your hair is very stubborn, some hair color is very, very stubborn.
Yeah.
Some people's hair, gray hair, then you can do, you'll have to do permanent hair color, but then you try and do it once in 3 months. You will just do a little root touch up every now and then. You can try and use a spray color in between, but yeah, you should try and avoid. Some people go and color their every 2 and 3 weeks. That's too often.
Okay.
Yeah. Every 2-3 weeks, if you color, it's too often. If you have very severe grays, don't do that, because it's known now that hair color can produce pigmentation, allergy problems. So, and you'll also ruin your hair texture and hair texture.
Health of the hair. Yeah. That's amazing. That's very informative.
And then of course you have fashion color. So fashion color is fashion color that you're doing for fashion.
I wanted to color purple. I stopped. I was like, no, let this natural color be your color for next few more months. Like, I've not colored since 2019 and I'm enjoying this color, because I was actually tempted for purple and all those pink and you see nowadays. But then I stopped myself. I was like, Sejal, you're also a doctor. You cannot be so hippie in the clinic.
I know. But you know what you could do? You could just put it on the ends.
Edge, yeah.
And then you can just do it for a month or 2 and then snip it off and nobody will know.
Yeah, that can be possible. Alright, so let's see what next. Any cure for hair thinning? Oh, we spoke about the hair health, no? That is similar to what you can do for your hair thinning, I guess.
You can also, yeah, we can talk about some applications actually. That's a good question. So, about applications, basically what we have is a new generation of products which are growth factors and peptides. So, growth factors and peptides help to stimulate new growth. The shrunken hair follicles are stimulate for new growth, and they also help in the existing hair to look thicker and healthier because you're nourishing, you're improving the blood supply, you're providing, stimulation to the hair follicles which are existing as well as which are shrunken. So growth factor peptides are really trending. You can also do, the mesotherapy, then there's the mesopen, then there's PRP. So these are procedures you would do in a clinic with a dermatologist and in a skin clinic, or hair clinic, where you can um, do these procedures to regrow your hair.
Okay.
And also improve the quality and texture, stop the hair loss. Then we have, if you actually have balding, like you have female pattern balding or male pattern balding, then you can actually do minoxidil, finasteride. These are used topically for regaining hair growth and hair vitality, slowing down the balding. If you have hormonal issue, you address that. So these are the ways in which you can do. Then we also have, of course, there's hair transplant that we all understand, but we also have something called Regenera Activa, which is a dermal micrograft technique. So we actually take the grafts from here.
Okay.
So we take about 4 to 8 grafts, and we process them in a machine, create a fluid, and inject it into the scalp. So
yes,
these are the ways. It lasts a year. That lasts a year. So PRP, you've got to do 4 to 6 sessions once every 3 weeks. Regenerativa is only once a year. Regenerativa you'll do if you're balding and have really bad loss. PRP you can even do. Younger people can do PRP. And mesotherapy and all is useful. So you can use these hair restoration techniques if you have a very stubborn case or if your hair loss is advanced. You can use them.
Lots of these things I was really not aware of. I think a lot of things are latest and added to the things, right?
Yeah. And in fact, if you have patchy hair loss, it's called alopecia areata.
Yeah.
Alopecia areata. So you have this sort of patchy hair loss here, or sometimes men get it in their mustache, beard. Children can get it. You can get it anywhere on the scalp. Then you can, of course, it's usually due to stress, thyroid, maybe low D3, B12, and then we do suggest the correct applications, vitamins, things to improve your immunity. It usually means your immunity is not so great, and you can use, PRP again. You can do all these treatments. But PRP is really useful in alopecia areata, and of course, we give the steroid shots. So you can grow back. Basically, what I'm trying to say is hair loss is not balding. All hair loss is not balding. Balding is a distinctive entity of testosterone-induced hair loss, right, in men and women. Because DHT, dihydrotestosterone, is the culprit for balding. You're sensitive to it, your roots shrink, you may be genetically prone, or you may be producing extra, your roots shrink, they shrivel up, and the hair just disappears. So that's balding. Hair loss means you're shedding. And then there's a reason for its shedding. That is reversible. Once you find the reason and you correct it, you can reverse your hair loss and regrow hair. So what is hair thinning? It's so complicated. What is hair loss? What is balding? What is hair thinning? Hair thinning means you've lost hair. That doesn't mean that you've balded. You could have lost hair and not regrown it. Because there's some deficiency you didn't know, there's some hormonal change, your diet wasn't up to the mark, you're still very stressed out, your sleep is not good. Correct all those, do a few PRPs, take the right lotions, creams, potions, tablets, you'll be fine. However, if you're balding, then that is an ongoing process. That is something you've got to maintain, look after. There's minoxidil, there's finasteride, there's this, there's that. That is something that you have to keep up with. You can't. That is the ongoing maintenance. You can use PRP, but Regenera is better over there, and you may have to do hair transplant eventually. Not everybody, but eventually.
So first line is to make sure that you're taking care of your health. And if you're not taking enough care and there are external and internal factors, then you have to be patiently doing like what all you said. Then otherwise the end thing is that.
Yeah, that was a little chapter out of a book.
Awesome, awesome. What about? I think a lot of people are asking about itchy scalp still, huh? I think
Yeah.
people are having a lot of problem with itchy scalp nowadays. So, do we have any DIYs we can do for that?
Yeah, sure. Why not? I think the first DIY I would say is that, the 5-in-1 hair oil by Moha. They just use that, like I said, a little bit of cotton into the scalp with a steaming oil to soothe the scalp down. Then use an anti-dandruff shampoo. The Moha anti-dandruff shampoo is nice. They can use that, leave it in, massage it in lightly, leave it in 3 minutes, then wash their hair and rinse it off. Condition the ends, mid and the long lengths can be conditioned. So this is a simple way of doing it. If, however, the itching continues, then maybe their hair color is not suiting them, or maybe think of the way you hold your hair dryer. Keep your hair dryer away from your hair, not on your head. Use a cool dryer. Don't keep your iron too close to your hair. Maybe you should look out for some lice. Maybe you got lice. One sign of getting lice is itchy ears, itchiness over here. Kids get it. So it's important to think about it. And still, if you feel you're itchy, you could be having a genuine buildup of fungus bacteria. Then use a medicated shampoo. And if you still are itchy and getting thick flakes, maybe you got a bit of psoriasis, seborrheic dermatitis, these are scalp conditions, then you will have to use a steroid-based shampoo or a tar-based shampoo or a salicylic acid-based shampoo. So, you'll have to, this is the way we analyze it, and running through is take enough zinc. Zinc is one of the most, even, see, biotin is very important for hair regrowth. But zinc is actually extremely important for a healthy scalp
Okay.
and for an itchy scalp. It means your zinc could be low.
It helps in healing also. Zinc has a very good healing property.
Absolutely. Yeah, it calms down the scalp, healing. It has a better quality of hair. Your scalp is healthier, your hair will be healthier. So make sure you have enough zinc. So in a vitamin, you must have at least 22 mg of zinc in it, just to guide our followers and viewers, that you must have at least 22 mg of zinc in it to be able to, have the right amount. And then, of course, you can have seeds and nuts in your dals and things like that.
So that really helps. Okay, I think
What about another DIY? Do you have any pack you can suggest for as a DIY?
for
Itchy scalp?
itchy scalp.
Yeah, itchy scalp.
Not really. I haven't tried a lot because I never faced that as yet. But yeah, all I knew was that oil mixing with little bit of lemon juice and then using it. But I was not sure of it, so I never tried. But please tell us. I would really love to try and give my feedback next session.
I think you could, if people have a very itchy scalp, some of them take aloe vera. They take aloe vera.
Oh yeah, I might have done that.
Yeah, they take chilled aloe vera and they apply chilled aloe vera pack on their scalp. They put a little neem in it, neem water, aloe vera, mint. All of these can soothe the scalp down.
Yeah, aloe vera has the very nice antibacterial, very rich antibacterial property as well.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
And neem is antibacterial. Yeah. Aloe vera is soothing. Neem is antibacterial. Maybe you can put, a little bit of even some rose water in it. Just basically keep it cooling and antibacterial. Leave it on 20 minutes, and after your shampoo, then leave it on, and then just rinse it off with cool water. So I think we need to tone down the hot showers and wash our hair with more tepid water, as they say. Tepid is the right word.
Lukewarm or something like that. Yeah. I think aloe vera would even work very good for dandruff. Like with itchy scalp, I think dandruff is also parallelly happening. So aloe vera, this pack would work really good for that as well.
Yeah, so the water lily oil is also antifungal.
Oh, nice.
The water lily oil, which is there, is antifungal.
Awesome. Great. I think we've covered most of the questions I had got. Do you want to add anything, or we had like good to go about? Like, do you want to add something?
Yeah, I think I'll give you I'll give a little wind down message.
Yes, let's summarize.
Summarize, take home message. So to wind down, I'd say that we all know that of course the hair matters a lot and it gives us our confidence, it grooms us, crowning glory. It makes you feel good when your hair is good. It can frame a simple face into looking glam, but we should pick up the signs of something going wrong faster than later. A lot of people sort of wait, thinking it'll settle down. So, yeah, my take is if you're losing hair and it's not, or you're getting an itchy scalp, how long should you wait before you know that it's not going the right way? Is I'd say maximum 6 weeks. If in 6 weeks of a problem is not settling down, take help, take the help of a dermatologist, and if you've decided to go in for some home remedies and they're not working, you've decided to go to the salon and do some treatments and it's not working, in about 6 weeks, if it's not working, your home remedies or your salon remedies, again, you need professional help. Because I'll tell you why. The hair, if it's acute, the problem is acute, in the first 6 weeks to 3 months, you address it, you treat it, you diagnose it, you address it, you treat it. It's reversible. You can quickly correct it and you won't let the hair follicle shrink too much. Then you have to work on reactivating that hair follicle. Here you may shed hair, but you can reactivate it fast, you can correct it fast. If you let something become chronic, then it takes the hair follicles go into prolonged telogen. That means they become dormant. They go into a long, deep sleep. You just want them to rest and grow back. You don't want them to go into a long, deep sleep. When they go into a long, deep sleep,
I think the screen froze.
Is this okay?
Yeah, now it's fine.
So if it goes into a long, deep sleep, then it's going to take that much more time for it to grow back, right? When you're struggling, it takes 6 months, it takes 9 months, it takes 4 months. So don't wait and watch. You have a problem, go treat it. Hair can be treated very easily, very nicely, and you don't have to suffer, a loss unnecessarily, and you can recover.
You stress a lot, you lose a lot.
Yeah, good one. And I like that. I love that. And there are so many ways to groom your hair today more naturally using the right products. So I think one should really educate oneself on what's around and go for the right formulation that suits your hair.
That's
good formulations from good brands, good companies, tried, tested, research, purity. This is another take home I want to give for serums, for hair products. Don't go for just fancy looking, good smelling ones. Doesn't matter if they're a little boring looking, but they should work for you. Have the right formulation. That helps. That would be my take home wind down message. And last message, please do not experiment too much with your hair.
Yeah, that's true. That is so true. Like when I used to color, when I used to do a lot of things, I know the texture of my hair, and now I know how happy I am with my hair. Yeah, very natural.
That was one good thing. One good thing I noticed with lockdown. The last thing I want to say is like because people couldn't color too much, they don't color at all. Cut their hair. They finally saw their own hair. And because they were eating at home.
That's true. That natural color I was not aware of since years.
Yeah, and then because they were eating at home and not going out, so there was no environmental pollution.
Damage.
There was no damage. There was no hardly any sun. They were eating healthy food at home, not touching their hair, using simple basic products. Most people said, "Doc, I love my own hair."
That's true. It happened with me.
Yeah. So love your hair. Don't fight your hair. Love it. Work around it. Groom it, and then you will look as beautiful as Sejal Jain.
And Dr. Kohli.
We love each other.
We love each other. That's true.
That's very clear.
Awesome. So nice to talk to you. The information was so great, so informative, very helpful. And I'm sure our audience also gained a lot of knowledge today, and the session was really nice, very informative. Thank you so much. Loved it.
Me too. Love the session too, and love everybody for watching us. And lots of love to you too. And see you next week.
See you next week. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. See you. Bye, Sejal.
Bye.
Your live video. And now, right?
Yeah, and then
She left. Okay.
so then you have